Okay, everybody, straight out of nowhere, it's Gundam News. Let's do Gundam News again because it's been at least a month since I last do this, and enough news has piled up that I have something to cover. So our top story this week is the World's Fair. Leading off the news is the World's Fair. The World's Fair is one of the most time-honored traditions in the world, with official records dating back as far as 1851 and unofficial records going back as far as the 1700s. Before the existence of America itself, there existed the World's Fair. Speaking of America, once upon a time in America, we used to have the World's Fair, and it was a really big deal. For some reason, we haven't had one since like 1984 or 1982. I kind of feel like the 1982 one was the last one I heard about because there was a throwaway joke about it on The Simpsons. But yeah, super sadly, I have never seen a World's Fair in my lifetime because America just stopped doing them. And on top of that, the rest of the world still does them, but they don't happen as frequently as they used to. Now, as far as I know, the only World's Fair is the cool-ass ruins of the World's Fair in Queens, and every once in a while, my dead grandmother used to speak extremely highly of it when it was an actual functioning thing. So, I have, for some strange reason, always wanted to visit the World's Fair. Now, that being said, in 2025, Japan is doing the World's Fair, and they're doing it up in Osaka, which, as we all know, is the sexiest, richest town in all of Japan. And this is a major big deal for Japan, because in 1969, Japan had previously hosted the World's Fair, also in Osaka. And that time, the theme of the World's Fair was the future. And by all accounts, the country has spent the past 50 years in a cycle of shame because they were never able to achieve that promised future that the World's Fair promised them. Like, there have been literally at least 2 Japanese movies about how Japan failed the World's Fair. And anyway, so they really wanted a do-over, and now they're getting it. This is it. 2025, Expo Osaka, World Fair 2025 in Japan. And I gotta tell you guys, I want to go to this World's Fair so badly. I don't think there's gonna be another World's Fair in my lifetime that will be this exciting, this cool, because it's Japan. Japan will probably not get another chance at this for another 50 years. And Japan has never let the world down when they have a chance to show off their technological brilliance. So I think Japan is going to bring their A game to this World's Fair, and I think this is going to be literally the best World's Fair of my entire lifetime. Literally, if I miss this World's Fair, there will never be a World's Fair as good or as cool as this one. So I literally cannot afford to miss this World's Fair in 2025 in Osaka. Anyway, bringing this all back to Gundam, because I have to talk about Gundam right now, because this is a Gundam news show. Obviously, Gundam wants a piece of that good-ass World's Fair money, so of course there's going to be a Gundam pavilion at the brand new Japan World's Fair. Not exactly sure what its deal will be. Will it be a Gundam model shop? Will it be some kind of real-ass Gundam, because Japan has done that before? Either way, it's going to be cool no matter what it is, so I'm pretty interested. And obviously, if I'm in Japan visiting the World's Fair, I'll probably stop at this pavilion. Okay, that's enough about the World's Fair. Now we got a lot of video game news. Leading off the video game news, we have Gundam Evolution. Now, if you guys haven't heard by now, Gundam Evolution is officially out of business. They're shutting down their servers this November, in about 2 months from now, give or take. And this sucks because it's really just a couple of weeks after the game will hit its 1-year anniversary. Now, I got chosen to be a beta tester on this game, and when I played the beta made me realize that this game was extremely cheap. It wasn't a good made Gundam game, it was seemingly just a Gundam game designed to copy Overwatch. And on top of that, the game has this real lack of structure, it has an anything goes style of combat, and for all those reasons, the game feels intensely not special. Also, I think it was kind of a bad move to copy Overwatch in a year when Overwatch itself is just kind of over. Anyway, right now, I don't have any desire to ever play Gundam Evolution again, but let me know what you guys think. Would you want me to pick it up again for the last month before they shut it down? Is there even anything really worth doing in the game since it's just a multiplayer shooter where you shoot a bunch of strangers in an ugly Unreal Tournament map? Anyway, yeah, if you think I should give Gundam Evolution one last huzzah before it dies, leave a comment. Or maybe it's already dead and it will just be remembered as a big failure of a game. Anyway, it's kind of interesting that lately with all these new online service games like Gundam Evolution and Gundam Breaker Mobile, once the server dies, the game itself is completely lost to history. That makes it more of a tragedy than previous games where you can just like dust off the console and play them. Anyway, we gotta move on from that because there's even more video game news this week. The next Gundam game I have to cover is Gundam Poetry of Steel. Now, this game was just announced and it's being developed by a Chinese team, and it seems to be another lackluster mobile phone game. Now, speaking of lackluster, there was a lackluster trailer for the game dropped, and we don't really see any of the gameplay. All we see is some cinematics. We see that it's using SD-style Gundam, and that's really about it. We can ascertain from like the promotional art that it probably features every broadly speaking Gundam series. And if I had to take a guess, my absolute best hope for this game is that maybe it's a cell phone port or a dumbed down version of Gundam Battle Lines, because the units in this one look like they're straight up recycled from Gundam Battle Lines. So that's like my first impression of this. Otherwise, it could also be a G generation thing because it is using SD Gundams, and maybe it's some kind of like turn-based G generation game. Anyway, the trailer implies though it probably has live combat, or maybe just it's implying that there's sniper units, so it's unclear. Anyway, the town of Otsu has Gundam manholes now. That's barely worth mentioning. So let's continue the video game news. Alright, one more big video game news story. The most major video game news this week is that Gundam UC Engage, the current most popular Gundam game on the phone, has slowly built a decent enough following in Japan that it's finally going to be released in the US. And I am very, very conflicted about whether or not I should bite the apple for this one. Now, I'm going to be real with you guys. Like, at first glance, I want to play this game. I've heard nothing but good things about it. It has amazing cinematic cutscenes. And the number one reason why I want to play this game is because it has one of the most thorough retellings of the story of Moon Gundam, which has previously only been like a Japanese light novel / manga series. And yeah, that's my main like reason to play this game, because I want to see an anime and summary of Moon Gundam. Apart from the gameplay itself, the gameplay looks alright, but my main concern about playing this game is that I'm worried that the game might have some pseudo-malicious, free-to-play, pay-to-win mechanism involved. I'm not sure exactly how the game works right now, but if I had to guess, there's probably even like a gameplay limiter or some kind of previous units you have to pay to unlock, and maybe you can only beat like certain events with those premium units. So yeah, if any of you guys have played Gundam UC Engage, right now I need to know more about it. Like, is the game even fun? Oh hey, instant update. Okay, apparently a couple of my friends do own this game in Japan already, and they have let me know that this game does contain in-game purchases for a wide variety of things that they didn't tell me what the things were. Now, I don't know what these things are, I don't know why anyone would want them, but if the prices are exactly the same as the Japanese version, then the prices seem to range from about $3 to $60, with the majority of the in-game items coming in at an unsavory price of $30, which, I don't know about you guys, but back in the day, $30 could buy you an entire good-ass Game Boy game back in the 1990s. Of course, nowadays, $30 will really just buy you a bowl of ramen with a soda in New York City, but either way, I definitely want to try out UC Engage. I'm just a little bit worried about, like, in-game purchases because I'm very, very broke right now, because I'm spending all my money making an anime, and honestly, the even existence of this game in America worries me, because I feel like I'm, like, obligated to play it, but I don't have money to play it. Lastly, the main news of this week is that the second trailer for Gundam Seed Freedom dropped, and it was a very interesting thing. So the trailer is narrated by Gilbert Durandal, I think, who was dead last time I checked my Seed lore. Maybe I was wrong about that, but I think he died at the end of Seed Destiny, right? Anyway, he's back in this trailer somehow, and then the big thing they're teasing in this trailer is that Kira Yamato has gone out of control and all the other characters will want to stop him, which is a very interesting take on the story. And you know what? Honestly, as much as I give Seed a lot of shit, this is a great trailer because they give you just enough information to make it tantalizing and interesting, but also just not enough information so you have no idea what's going on. All we know is this is a story where Kira is suddenly the bad guy. So my first thought is it's not actually Kira, it's an evil Kira, maybe a fake Kira. If you guys ever watched Gundam UC Destiny, Destiny had like a bad history of throwing out fakes and clones and body double characters. You had your Raos, you had your Niers, you had your Neo Roanoke's. So yeah, they were just all about keeping people guessing. And yeah, so maybe the evil Kira is a clone, or maybe Kira is just gone insane. Either way, it seems like the only reason Kira is evil is so he can fight Athrun again, because people really want to see that Athrun Kira rematch from the original Gundam Seed, and users online are joking that this movie should have actually been called Athrun's Counterattack. Now, aside from the trailers, they also dropped a loose list of the characters and their seiyus for the movie, and it looks like most of the characters are now in some weird new unified army, except for Diarca and Yizak, who are still wearing their old school Zaft uniforms forever. Never change, you guys. Anyway, someone also pointed out that the female characters now have these gross puffy lips, and it looks really unsettling. It looks like literally all the female characters in the show have Botox, and that kind of upset a lot of people. Also, Mayrin isn't a soldier anymore, she seems to just be a civilian. I forget what happened in Sea Destiny, but she quit her job? Okay. Also, weirdly, there's a new character seemingly replacing Mayrin with like the same hairstyle that she used to have. And this new character has the same VA as Flay, which is very suspicious. Some people are guessing she's a Flay clone, but I think they really just wanted to bring the voice actor back. Now, more drama on the way. Speaking of voice actors, apparently Kigali has a new voice actor because her old VA didn't want to work on Gundam Seed anymore, because apparently Gundam Seed Destiny was a very negative experience for her. And lastly, a lot of people have noticed online that there's this new character here who has an old man's head on a very skinny little boy body. And a lot of people are just disturbed by that. I think it's a bad Photoshop job, but either way, this guy's head is too big. Alright, that's all the news that's fit to print, you guys. I'll see you later, but let me know if you want to hear more about any of these topics. Leave a comment, and I'll try to respond as best as I can. Thank you, good night.